Alrighty, good evening everybody, welcome to the stream. Everything should be up and running and working, I hope. This is the part where I found out that everything on my computer is broken. Hopefully not. No black screen this time, I'm going to go straight into the stream and get cracking. I'm just waiting for chat to confirm that A, you can see the game, and B, you can hear my sultry voice. So as soon as we get that, then we can get cracking. I've got a little bit to talk about at the start of the video here, or the start of the stream I should say, and then we've got some building to do because we're finishing off the East Coast tonight, which is very exciting. It's been a long time coming. I think I mentioned this in the description. It's been 2 years in the making, give or take, so it's about bloody time that I actually got it finished. Right, let me get the music started as well, just so we're not sitting here in absolute silence. George can see me, George can hear me, that's good. And hopefully you can only see and hear me once as well, and not twice, although, as I said on Reddit earlier, you can never have too much of me. That's so big-headed as well. Media player, please. Thought it crashed then. Let's get you going. Alright, you should be able to hear the music now as well. Everything should be hunky-dory and up and running. Right, let me scooch away from this as well. Okay, problems. Problems, solutions. That's the first thing I'm going to talk about. GWR, you can see I've got it all up on the screen right now. It's all very nice, it's all very good. We're over here at Charwood, which is the sort of southern extremity of the GWR network. Even though it's technically a southwestern station, it's served by 2 GWR services. For some reason, this set of sidings here, the easternmost, which is the one that's currently occupied, that's meant to be for trains on the fast line, and the westernmost, which is the one that's unoccupied, is meant to be for trains on the slow line. That works fine, nothing wrong there. However, as you can see, there's only meant to be one fast service, and yet the platform is already taken. I don't know why that's happened, because they are scheduled. Don't know if you can see this, if I move it into the middle. They are scheduled an hour apart. So I don't know why there were 2 trains running one in front of the other. But this isn't the first place where this has happened. Over here, for example, in fact, look, here comes the next one. Why are they all bunched together like this? I don't know. I don't understand what's going on here. It's like scheduled dispatch has just had a brain fart and decided it doesn't want to work again. Because you... And again, these are all an hour apart. They're all scheduled an hour apart. So we're currently at 6:09. So this is probably going to be the 4:53 or the 5:53 dispatch that's come out here. But yeah, they're all at 53s, and I don't know what's going on here. I do not know. I might have to redo scheduled dispatch because, as you can see, they're supposed to sit in this siding here for 15 minutes. This is a solution that I had to a problem. Let me remove all of these. There we go. I wanted to get trains from the new depot up by Woolworth down to here so that they could start their service. This is the branch line between Marui City Central and Sledtown. And I thought the way to do that would be to have it run fast line, switch over to slow line, and then go into a siding here, reverse into the bay platform, which would then free up the usual through platform. The usual through platform? No, just the through platform, Mark. And then through trains can continue. But because they're all bunched up like this now, and even the one in front of this one is only down here, it's causing issues. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but I'm going to use the ignorance is bliss mentality for now and just pretend that that isn't an issue, because it only seems to be this one here and then the fast train to Charwood that has the problem. Everything else seems to be running smoothly, touch wood. And I mentioned this on Discord earlier as well. It is busy. Some of these stations are incredibly busy. Plindom is an absolute wasteland now I've said that. That's good timing, isn't it? Maybe Woolworth. I mean, you can see trains moving around here and there. Woolworth is also dead. I suppose it's still, what, 6 AM, so that's probably a reason why. The peak trains haven't started yet, for example. Some other things I've noticed, this junction here gets very busy because you have a train that runs from GSP down to Charwood. It runs on the slow lines out of Woolworth, so it crosses. Does it? Yeah, it does, because it stops at Seward here and it stops at Hinbridge here. and then it crosses over to the fast line again. I also have a train on the fast line here that crosses over to the slow line. That's the train that originates at Plindon and then heads back towards GSP. In fact, this is it here, kindly showing me. I also have a fast trains that just zip straight through, the HSTs, and then I've also got the all-stoppers that come through here as well, like the Woolworth to Charwood all-stopper. So it gets very busy, very, very busy. There are, in fact, I'm hoping you're at the end of your journey and not at the start. Oh, you're also at... What is going on? So you're... Group off peak. You peak? No, you're just a... Oh, okay. Right, yeah, sorry, you're the Plindon to Munfingford train. That's... Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense. That makes a lot more sense. But yeah, seeing him in the liveries looks really cool. You can see this is the stopping livery. This one here is the semi-fast livery. I was hoping an HST might appear soon, so I can show you that one again. I know you've seen them before, but still. Another couple of changes that have been made. Granville East might look a little bit different. First of all, I've decorated it. Second of all, I moved it actually. You can see where the original alignment was. It was just here. I've now moved it diagonally up 2 tiles. Just because I didn't like how sharp this curve was for 75 and 125 mile per hour running. I'm actually tempted to move it up again. Maybe 1 or 2 more. Just to try and make this S-bend here a little bit more smooth, a little bit more consistent. But I'll see about that. Again, if I do it, it's an off-camera job. Frame lag is still an issue, by the way, before anyone points it out. I'm aware of it. I am aware of it. Still don't know how to fix it. I say that in all my videos now just to cover my backside, basically, because not so much pedants, but people new to the channel might not know about it, and I don't want to have to keep reliving that experience over and over again, even though it's really not their fault, because they're just pointing out something that they have every right to point out, to be fair. But yeah, another new station on the network. Follow the main line south. Here, Freeham Parkway, which currently has nothing. We have got trains scheduled to stop here, of course. But yeah, trying to explain this is tricky, because this is the west coast route here. This isn't technically the Western Reaches South yet. That doesn't happen until Portfield here. Likewise, this bit here isn't really the GWR, because the GWR turns east and connects up with the Western Reaches South. So what are these 2 lines? They're like little connectors, basically. This is GWR. This is Western Reaches South, this is Western Reaches South, this is God knows what, this is West Coast, and if we come over here to Sannington, this is Western Reaches South, this is Western Reaches South, this is GWR. I have no idea how to classify all of this section. Also, down here, this connecting line as well, because again, this is Western Reaches South, and this is Southwestern Main Line. What the hell is this one called? I suppose I could just call it the Fort Tranford to Sledtown line or something like that. The reason I'm asking is because George has kindly offered to make a route map for me, so it would be nice if I could actually provide useful information as to what each route is called, rather than... Because some of them are named after franchises, or the franchises are named after the routes, I should say. So, Guard City Western Railway. It used to be Great Western, now it's Guard City Western Railway. It still works, it's still GWR. But I think that's a better name for the route as well. Like Guard City Great Eastern, for example, is the route and also the franchise. It may change if someone takes over the franchise and wants to rename it. They're more than welcome to. But right now it is Guard City Great Western, Great Eastern. I'm having a brain fart. So many brain farts today. I've had basically I've been working on hashtag stuff a lot of this week, and it's just melted my brain. It's not even hard stuff either. It's exactly the same as what I did before. But yeah. Anyway. Enough of that. So yeah, there's a few changes going on. There's a lot more stuff in the pipeline as well. I talked about the new series on Tuesday. That seems to generate a little bit of interest. Not a huge amount, but a little bit. And I suppose that's all I can take right now. So I'm still happy about that. And what else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah, the next round of Patreon rewards will be coming soon, because we're coming to the end of the month, and I think at least one person is going to hit their 2-month window. So there may be some changes coming regarding franchises, but you know, I'll update you on that as and when it happens. Besides that though, I kind of avoided showing it just now, but if I show you the depot over here, it is busy. There is always a train moving. And this goes back to a question that I was asked last week, actually, which was how busy is the network going to be when it's finished? And I say finished in inverted commas because I don't think it ever will be finished. There'll always be little tweaks and changes here and there. And I actually dread the day that I finish building all the routes, to be honest, because then I only have to fiddle with trains. And that's not really what this series is about. So it's going to be a long time still before that day comes. Maybe even a couple of years still. But it's a day that I'm both looking forward to and dreading at the same time. So it's a bit of a weird one. But to answer the question, this depot, when it's busy, I mean, you can kind of see, again though, are all these these better not all be on the same group. What are you, GSP to CHA? Oh, I think you are actually. Yeah, because I've just released all these ones. So yeah, I think you are all the same. But you're, yeah, 444 minutes early and 385. So they are kind of scheduled. In fact, that is 60 minutes apart, isn't it? So that's, well, there or thereabouts. So that's about right. That is about right. I think that's all the admins. Oh no, one more thing. Earlier on I posted the stream on Reddit and someone asked a very valid question actually, which is why do I post the link at midday when the stream doesn't start until 5? It's a perfectly valid question actually. It's a very good question. The answer is I used to post as I went live. So all my video links post as they get published. That's done automatically. And it works fine for a video because, you know, you can watch it whenever. It's up forever. But when you're doing a stream, there's been a few weeks now where I've posted, well, there was a few weeks a year or so ago, where I posted the link to the stream as I went live, and you can sort of understand the mentality of people looking at it and going, oh, that looks cool, I'll check it out later. And by the time they join the chat, I'm either ending the stream or it's been ended for an hour or so. And then I used to get comments saying, why have you posted this when your video's set to private? And the reason is, it's because it used to be the stream would end and I'd queue up the next day to have it published at midday. So I thought if I start posting the link at midday, people can go on there, see it's scheduled to start in 5 hours, and hit the notify me when it goes live button. That's the theory. And it seems to have worked, because I get quite a good response now from that. I get a lot of people dropping in and out. The view count constantly fluctuates throughout the stream. It gives people a chance, a fair chance, to actually join the stream whilst it's still live. So that's why I do it. It might not be to everyone's taste, that's totally fine, but it works for me, so I'm going to keep doing it until it stops working for me, basically. Or the rules change, but I can't imagine that happening. But yeah, it's just to give people a chance to sort of pencil it into their diaries, really, that there's a stream coming up, rather than dropping in at the last minute and saying, sorry, I didn't know you were live. But yeah. That's the answer. That's the best answer I can give, at least. So hopefully that explains it a little bit better. So tonight, what are we doing tonight? Because I've talked now for... How long have I been live? Let me move... How long have I been live? There used to be a timer somewhere that would tell me how long I'd been live for. Maybe it's... Oh, it might be here. Oh yeah, 13 minutes. Oh, that's not too bad, actually. I managed to get this done quite quickly. Yeah, hopefully we have an active chat tonight. Hopefully we have a lot of people chatting, offering ideas, that kind of thing. I did ask for ideas on Tuesday, so hopefully you've all brought some with you. No pressure, though, if you haven't. Don't worry about that. But I want to get everyone involved still, you know. That's my favourite thing to do. I suppose some other little updates here and there. The HSTs here that run up to Sunnington, they've all been changed into M4J livery. All of the Guard City Great Northern trains, apart from the Airport Express, have all been converted to M4J livery, and the entire route up to Warnbridge Airport has been converted to the new speed limit system. So that's all very, very good. It seems to be working as well, which is fantastic. Yep, seems to be working with no problems. I was dreading that, in all honesty, because I'd spent so long trying to get Great Northern working, and I really thought I'd whiff it by switching things over. There was a little bit of a kerfuffle over here with this junction, but I seem to have got it okay now. I haven't found any lost trains, but it always pays to sort of come down here and check that there are no... No, I'm pretty sure these are all meant to be here, so that's good. So yeah, tonight... Scooch, 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 scooch. We are heading east. So we follow the main line all the way down here. All the way down to here. This is Kedingstone Wye. This is where the East Coast main line turns westwards to head towards Bahecity, but also this little branch here spurs off and heads down towards Pruntford, which I think, yeah, currently it stops here, but I am going to extend it right the way down the coast still, via a junction here, which is where again the line branches off west towards Bahecity. Is that right? Yeah. And there's another line actually, if I follow this one north. This line here, which, I mean, again, I built this like 2 years ago and never got around to finishing it. This comes out, in fact you can see where it comes out this way and joins up with the main line again over here. So actually that works out quite well. So build it down to here, build some kind of station. I don't think it will be an actual junction. I think it will just be this back ends onto the main station. I think that would work better. And then from here, continue to head south to at least this coat hanger junction here. And I think for this, I might build a station here and then just have these two lines like this. So if you're coming from the west here, you won't call it this main station. You'll kind of skip it. That worked really well for Free and Parkway. Normally I like to have a lot of interchange platforms and things like that, but I think when you've got a proper triangular junction like this, you either build some really weird shape like the reverse curve, like so, which I suppose I could still do. I suppose what I could do is again have it back end onto the main station and then have another couple of lines that come round. That might work better actually. I might do that instead. And then yeah, from here it will continue down to Pruntford. Now I've been toying with something in my head, which is maybe over here actually have it go from being overhead electrification to third rail, because I think that would work better. Or maybe maybe not, maybe just have it be, in that case the coat hanger probably will not be a physical connection, it will just be an interchange connection, because then you end up with trains having to switch over, and we're not at the stage yet where trains can switch over while moving. I don't think that was doable in the 90s, so it will just be, I think it'll just back end. But I should probably start building because I've chatted for long enough. And yeah, active chat please tonight guys, as much as possible. Let's get it all going. Any conversation topics and stuff that you might have. We are approaching the end of the month of course, so there will be some new rail news shortly. There will also be a video premiere shortly as well, so that's something to look forward to, I suppose. Excuse me. And yeah, let's get cracking. So, hit the record button. Hopefully everything doesn't melt down. Doesn't seem to have. Good stuff. And let's get going. So yeah, what is going on in the world at the moment with regarding rail? Not a lot, really. Not a lot's changed. There's still that thing about trying to convince people to use rail. I just don't like that term. I know what they're trying to do, and I support that, but I don't like the term of trying to convince people to use rail again, because to me it feels like it's too much too soon still. And you shouldn't, if you're trying to convince someone to do something right now, then it's basically a bad idea and you're lying to them to get them to do it. It's not safe to travel right now unless it's necessary, and even then precautions should be taken, and to be fair, a lot of people are actually doing that. There's not been an image I've seen for a long time now of people not wearing masks on trains, so that's very good. But bribery I think is a bad idea, because you're basically putting a value on someone's life, which I don't think is ever a good thing to do. I mean, this is just personal opinion, of course. I know other people do have other opinions, and again, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer in all of this. I think it's just, how safe do you feel right now? And me personally, I don't feel particularly safe. I'm not going to be making any kind of risky journeys for a long time yet. Well, until they stop being called risky journeys, basically. That'll be the next time I reckon I'll get on a train. You know, when I don't have to wear a mask. So that could be years even from now. Franchising has been scrapped. Oh, is that an official announcement? That is something I was not aware of. Apparently, I'm miles out of the loop. mine in the way. Let's do it like, no, no, come on, don't be dumb. There we go. And then just fill in these gaps here. Lovely. Right. So instead of issuing, I mean, what's changing? Well, like, what? I kind of know the answer, but what actually is the difference between a franchise and a concession? Because I've always felt like the franchising system should be like a concession, where you basically operate it on behalf of someone else rather than taking on all of the risk yourself. Especially, I mean, I've said this before about Network Rail. Some of the decisions that have been made and some of the projects that have been delayed that have ultimately cost companies their franchise. That's where I feel like concessions are a better option, because then you are running it on behalf of Network Rail, and if they mess up and the trains can't run, then they're entirely culpable for that. Whereas right now, the blame is still pointed very quickly at franchisees when it is really not their fault. It was made official Monday, new Railway Act is expected, and the Williams review will be... Oh, God's sake. By the time the Williams review comes out, I reckon I'll be in my late 50s at this rate. Wasn't it meant to be published like 3 years ago? Or was that something else? It feels like it's maybe it was when it was first announced before I actually started, but it just feels like it's gone on for ages. Government takes on more risk instead of... Yeah, that is exactly what I think should have happened a long time ago. So privatization I still think was good, but they kind of... It's kind of like... Because privatization came about because British Rail was too expensive. And instead of like the government helping run the railways, they kind of just went, this is all yours now, we're still going to run the infrastructure, you pay us an access charge, and if you mess up, it's on you. And I can see why a lot of people, a lot of companies aren't interested in that model anymore. That's why you have like First Group operate like, is it 4 or 5 different franchises now? And that's also why you've got all these consortiums starting to be formed. It's also why you've got other countries' governments or state-owned railways now taking a slice of our railways, which again I'm not against, because you are getting the right people into the right positions. But it's why you've got Trenitalia now operating the West Coast Main Line, because they're happy to take on the risk because they're used to running a full railway from signals to points to everything. Whereas over here we don't have that. So there's also like you've always got to have both parties understanding where each other's coming from. Network Rail don't know how to run a railway, as in running trains on a daily basis, and the TOCs don't understand what goes into the infrastructure work. So when you've got a franchise operator who does understand, they're a lot more understanding. I know I'm using the word understanding a lot now, but you know what I mean. They're a lot more sympathetic when there's an issue or a delay or something like that. A new body is expected to manage the network, not Network Rail, as other reports suggested. Well, I've not read any reports. I don't think Network Rail operate the railways anyway, do they? They're just in charge of infrastructure. But because it's a government-owned thing, Network Rail, like the DFT, in fact, it is the DFT, isn't it, in charge of Network Rail? That it's their mistakes that other people then pay for, and I really don't like that system. So I'm glad that's changing. I also think they should be held accountable for, you know, things like electrification work if that overruns, or if the new trains can't run because the existing overhead equipment can't sustain the performance of the new trains, then that is a Network Rail issue, and that's not a, let's just pull a random name out of the air, Virgin East Coast issue, because that didn't happen in real life at all. I'm salty on behalf of Virgin on that one, actually, because it's really not their fault. Like, how do you blame Virgin for Network Rail not upgrading the overhead lines in time? I never understood that. That's always been a really strange one to me. Which one is the Eastern Line? That's the slow line. So I really should have built this the other way around, but okay, I've done it now. I've done it now. I might swap them over, actually. Maybe... Actually, I could swap them around now, I suppose. If I did... this... and then got rid of you, and then extended this out a little bit further to say here, and then did this, and then this, and this, and then yeah, you can bridge. In fact, this needs to come back one. And up and over like so. There we go. Fast lines cross over. Because I kind of like the idea of the fast lines being right up against the sea wall as well. I think that would look kind of cool. Imagine if you're a bit like Dawlish, in fact. Imagine you're on a fast train, except in this case it would be 125 miles an hour rather than just 75. And you fly past all these towns. Does now mean, of course, I've got to make sure every station is on the eastern side, and we're about to go through here. Now, which way should I route this? That's a good question. Should I go where the line's pointing, or should I go round to the west side? I kind of like the idea of coming around this way and then heading south again. Because then we're coming in here, turning here, and then this is where the station's going to be. Were they ever going to extend Network Rail's power? I thought that was misreported. I mean, I've already said what I think should have happened. I think there should be a new board where every franchise has a representative on the board, and Network Rail has a representative. And every time there's a delay in a project, for example, and then that will risk the position of a franchise holder, everyone should be convened at a board meeting, and the first thing they should do is turn to the person who's representing Network Rail and say, can you tell us what happened, please? Because that's, again, that's where I have my issue, is Network Rail are responsible for all track work in the UK, and yet whenever there's a delay, it's always the operator that's blamed and not Network Rail. And I just think that's so... I'm not expecting the general public to know who's in charge of what, because, you know, it's unless you're really in the know, you don't know. So that's not the issue. But it's I just find it frustrating. Alright, fast line, gap, slow line. I think that's how I'm going to do it. So there's going to be 4 platforms on the fast lines, and then probably 6 on the slow line. That looks about right. I'm just waiting for people to tell me which way they want me to go around this lake. I mean, we're kind of set up now to go straight on and through Lenborough and that way. But then that's quite difficult terrain to navigate without doing massive bulldozing. And I don't really want to do that if I can help it. We could do both, I suppose. Have the fast line go through with a set of platforms here, and then have the slow line branch off, loop round, rejoin. That could make sense. I can kind of see at least a pair of lines sort of going through this gap under this bridge, right up against the lakeside here, over the water here, maybe next to this road bridge. That could work. Hello, just having fun. Yes, 2 weeks off, but we're back. George wants to go west. Someone just answered a question on the chase. What queen took a helicopter ride to meet her grandchild? Answer they gave was Elizabeth I. Well, at least they got Elizabeth. Some people, this makes me weep for humanity, some people don't know that there was a second Elizabeth. Or, you know, a first Elizabeth, I suppose, in this case. That our Elizabeth in our lifetime is the second. I find that so depressing when I hear about that, because history's great. If you actually study, like, I know a lot of people think it's just, you know, going and looking at old castles and stuff, and it really isn't. Anything from, you know, even the 1980s, the Berlin Wall coming down, that's history. And it's fascinating when you read about things like the Romans. They basically built the modern world, but a lot of what they did was lost in time for hundreds and hundreds of years. The Romans invented concrete. It was only in the, I think, 1940s, was it, that we rediscovered it and started using it for everything. And then of course we had that period in the 1960s where we forgot how to build things out of wood and metal, and everything was made out of bloody concrete. And then we very quickly learned from that mistake too. But yeah, I love history. I've always loved history. It's absolutely fascinating. Anyone who says history is boring, they're boring. You look at the, Britain as a whole, how it came to be as well. It's not just, everything didn't just fall into place. It took a lot of time to get to where we are. Although that being said, I'm not a fan of horrible histories, mainly because everything's a song when they do it. They get it right. I'm not disputing that. A lot of what they say is very much true, but they didn't all just sing and dance about Anne Boleyn being beheaded and stuff like that. It was quite a serious subject at the time. I like shows like, think of a good example now. I did watch a bit of Time Team when I was a kid. Not a huge amount, because when you're 8 years old, you don't really want to see Tony Robinson digging a hole. But, it's this thing, I've always said this about schools, is they need to stop just teaching what's in the syllabus, and they need to start teaching kids to learn. So, I mean, I was quite fortunate when I was at school that I had some good teachers who didn't just say, here's what you need to learn for the exam, but they actually said, if you want to read more about this subject, this is a good book, this is a good TV show. And one of the best things my history teacher ever did was showed us an episode of Band of Brothers in history. It was the episode where they found the concentration camp, and that alone, like, Band of Brothers is my all-time favourite TV show, bar none. So I got to discover that, but also just to read about World War II is one thing, but to watch a show based on the real stories of those who fought in it, that is something else. That is an incredible thing that we got to see. And some of it's dramatized. It didn't all happen like it's depicted in the show, but a lot of it, based on real people living real stories, and you just can't make that up. You can't even get that from a book. You have to sort of see it play out in front of you. It is amazing. I love that show so much. I'll fight anyone who says otherwise. Anyone want to talk about Band of Brothers? Or shall I just go back to talking about trains? Should probably go back. Oh, I put that signal in the wrong place. That's why it doesn't make sense. I've also built this station in completely the wrong location, bearing in mind what I was talking about with it bookending. It kind of works still, I suppose. If I have this one coming from the south, we'll have a set of platforms here, and then it can turn and terminate up here. This is basically the Bar City Overground, is what I'm essentially building the terminus for here, to connect with the East Coast. Is the stream lagging? I just saw the buffer wheel spin. That's not good. Alright, looks like we're going west, because no one else has said what their preference is. I love the fact now as well, I don't have to worry about waypoints. I can just, if I want to build this like this, I can just build it like this. Not have to worry at all. Is my game still? No, I have got it on paused. I'm doing that thing again where I answer a question whilst I'm asking it. It's an annoying habit. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with the GWR, because everything works. I had to do some little tweaking. That junction that I pointed at right at the start, I had to do a little bit of tweaking there because trains were queuing. Maybe that's had like a knock-on effect. Like one train gets delayed by a minute, and then the next time it cycles around it gets delayed by 2 minutes because of the concertina effect, and then 3 minutes, and then 4 minutes, and so on and so forth. And then, after 10 cycles, it's 10 minutes off schedule. And then the trains only run, an hour apart, so you do it six lots of that, and then suddenly your train's an hour late, and it's being held up, or it is holding up the one behind it. Maybe that's what's happened. I don't want to speculate too much, because that might not be what's happened. It could be a mistake that I've made somewhere, and believe me, I've made a lot. I had one... Why is that arch a different shape? Don't know. I had one recently where I set up, in fact it's to do with GWR, I set up the route down to Munfingford and I set the signals up completely wrong for the speed limits. Luckily I only did it for the speed limits and not for the wayfinding. But because I had, you know, the system I use where if it's a passenger train it goes this fast, if it's a freight train it goes this fast. Normally for that I will do, if cargo can carry passengers or mail, then goes 75 for example, and if it can't, goes 60. But for the if it can't section, I said if it can't carry passengers or if it can't carry mail. So obviously a train that can't carry mail is a train that can carry passengers. So it was limiting it to 60 instead of 75, which is a major oopsie. So I had to fix that. But it is, oh god, that's a major oopsie as well. But it is now working, I'm happy to say. And as I said, the Great Northern is working fine. Hopefully the GWR will follow suit. The Great Eastern, I've also not seen any problems. And the entirety of the cross-region route from Denston up to Monningpool Falls also seems to be working without any issue. So, still got a few more to do. For example, still got to do the entirety of the West Winds and also the Western Reaches South. The Bahecity commuter belt as well, north and south. The South Coast route all the way up to Sanley. And the... what else is missing? I think I might tunnel at this point. I might, well maybe not. Maybe go up actually. Go up and over. That'll work better. What other routes have I got to do? The Great Eastern route out of Guard City. Southeastern, sorry, route out of Guard City. And also... there are others. The Grand Central. That hasn't been done. Network Central needs to be set up with the speed limit still, but everything else is okay. I think that's it actually. But yeah, there's still a lot of admin work to do. I'm quite enjoying it, doing it off camera, to be fair. It's not the worst job in the world, let's be honest. And yeah, there's loads of other stuff that I'm doing in loads of other series as well, which is kind of keeping me occupied for the time being. Okay, I think if we do this, I know I'm doing a lot of bulldozing again, I'm sorry, but flatten you, and then maybe build this, like so. So I think this will be a station, somewhere around here will be a station, somewhere over here will be a station, and then we're into the main junction over here. I keep doing this thing where you can technically cross over onto the fast line here and then run out, and maybe I'll just do that. This is basically, it's like the Plindon design, because Plindon Junction I think was the first station I built to this design, and it's kind of stuck since then. Some people like it, some people don't. I personally think it's alright. What version of the viaduct is that? I think that might be the right one. But yeah, how was everyone's weeks last week? What did you all get up to without watching my stuff? Did you enjoy the daily things on Discord? Videos to watch? That was inspired by someone once said to me, in fact this was when I was ill, this is when I had labyrinthitis, and someone said to me, what are you going to do to provide for your viewers while you're away? Not realising that I didn't even know which way was up most of the time, never mind managed to rack my brains to think about video ideas. So I thought this time, I'm having a scheduled week off, so I might actually post some of my favourite playlists down the years for you guys to watch. I don't know if anyone actually watched them, I haven't checked the viewing figures. It'd be nice if you guys did, but again it was optional. But I just thought I'd do that as a little thing. The next time I take time off, which will be in a few weeks time, I'll do it better. I'll post more links to playlists first of all, and I'll also do it on YouTube as well in the community tab, so you guys will be able to watch stuff. If you're not a Discord member, for example, you'll still be able to catch up and watch the videos. Is that about right? I think this one needs to be a little bit shorter actually, this tunnel. I think I'm going to go both directions around the lake. I think I'm going to have the fast go east and the slow go west. But what I'll also do is, because I've dug out this trench now, is I'll actually have another branch line come down this way and maybe just terminate at Kedingstone, like run alongside the fast lines here into a set of segregated platforms. As you can see, I haven't done the 225s yet. Class 91, I forgot what the classification was then. That's not very good, is it? What's happened to the chat? Everyone's gone quiet. Alright, that should be a big enough space. Like so. There we are. And then that. What was the other history show I used to watch? There was a really good one. It's completely slipped my mind. There used to be a show I watched called Take One Museum, which I thought was brilliant. It's not a history show as such, but it was a guy whose name I can't remember. But he used to do tours of museums in a single take. So I think it was on BBC 4. So he'd start at like the entrance way, and then he'd give you a quick tour of some of the key exhibits. Maybe he'd interview, you know, an expert in the field. So he did like the photography museum or the media museum up in, is it Manchester? I think it's Manchester. And some other stuff like that. It was a really cool show. They only did one series, and I don't think you can get it on DVD, which is quite disappointing, because I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot from that. They did the what's the museum in Oxford? Not the Boleyn, it's the library, Mark. Is it the Fitzwilliam Museum in Oxford, and the Pitt Rivers Museum? That was a good one. They also went, I think it was to Orkney, and did a museum up there, which I thought was a good one. It's a good show. It's a really good show. If you ever get the chance to watch it, I recommend it. Awesome show. Right, fast lines are going to tunnel under here like this. We are going to have a set of platforms here at Lenborough Bay. Fear not, this isn't going to be a level crossing. I'm going to tunnel the road under the rail. In fact, am I? No, I don't think I am. I think what I'm going to do though is flatten this. And then flatten all of this. Like so. Again, people are not going to enjoy the fact that I'm bulldozing everything. I apologise. I think this, and then over the top there to this. Not every fast train is going to stop here, by the way. Most probably will, because this isn't. It's fast and slow lines rather than express and stopping, I would say. A bit like the method I use on the third rail lines, where both speed limits are the same. Actually, why am I doing it at... So the trains will run faster, but will still stop at most of the stations. And being able to split them like this kind of helps with that. But there we go. Right, so yeah, we're going to go round Bathing Bridge. So we'll bridge over this road, and then we'll go out this way, round here, maybe another set of platforms just for old time's sake, and then we'll curve back into a station that hasn't been built or named yet. Or maybe just this section will be fast and slow, and then it will go a bit more conventional again once we get out of here. It's quite a built-up area, really. You can see why I chose this to be the interchange, because this was already built up. This isn't something that's happened recently. You know, even a year ago, when I planned most of this out, it would have already been like this. So let's do this. Science, yeah. The Science Museum in London is my favourite museum to go to. Every time I've been there, there's always something new. And even if there's no new exhibitions as such, there's always something new to see. Like they'll have tweaked something or added something, or you just suddenly notice something that you hadn't spotted before. And I know it's meant to be for kids, but was it the Crash Lab that used to be up on the 4th floor, I want to say? That used to be my favourite bit to go to, because I love interactive science. And before the Science Museum, my favourite museum to go to was the old I think it was called Explore. I think it's just called the Bristol Science Museum now, but it used to be called Explore at Bristol. And that was really cool. Used to love going there. And the little like rainforest place they had next door to it, which had the IMAX, and I think now is an aquarium of all things. So I suppose that's kind of interesting too, if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah. God, I remember the original Science Museum in Bristol. It was just down the road from Temple Meads, and it was built inside an old tram depot. I'm old, as you can tell. I'm 30 in a year or so. Also done a lot of research into pandemics and epidemics since this one started. Oh yeah. I've tried not to do that myself, but I mean, I know about Spanish flu and how that was dealt with, but the problem these days is, you know, back in 1918 there wasn't people on Twitter telling everyone that it's fine and it's all just a hoax. So that's one big change. Plus, I think we'd just come off the back of a world war back then as well, so I don't think people wanted to take any chances regarding the death toll. There are some dum-dums out there. Some very smart people who have been duped as well, mind, but mostly dum-dums. Here we go. Dreadhill probably won't have station. Neither will Hunborough, neither will Actually, Rewhatton could if I built one sort of here. It would share with Baffingbridge. But, I mean, buses. That's what buses are for. What? Okay. I don't want to go too much into it because it gets a little too political for my liking. But what I want to say to conspiracy theorists is they always come out and say such and such has told them this, therefore it must be true. And, you know, the government is lying to us, or the scientists are lying to us. And what I really want to say to them is, why do you believe one group of people and not another? Like, why is the crazy guy living in his parents' basement? Why is he the one that's right? Why is he the one that's cracked the secret code that we're all in this conspiracy together? You know, why is the truth selective? Why does it have to always be one side that's lying and the other side that's telling the truth? Why can't it be sometimes other people are creating a false agenda in order to try and convince people, you know, naive people, let's say, rather than idiots? But why is it always that way around? Why is it always the authority figure that's considered the bad guy in this, and not the person who has absolutely no experience in the field? I've always found that part of it particularly interesting. Where am I building this? I think I'm going to skip Punfingley and Great Trondington because that's going to be bus served as well. This is prime. This like huge square that we've got here. This is prime for a bus franchise. If anyone wants to support me on Patreon and take up that bus franchise, please do. It is ripe for the picking. Well, wasn't it proved that ventilators didn't actually help much? So let's not dwell on that too much. It's more the fact that it's not a hoax. If of all the things to make up, that is the weirdest and the dumbest, I would say. That there's this virus going around that's killing people. If you wanna have that element of control, you don't make up a virus. Not that I know too much about the subject, of course, but it's real. You know, it is real. And the number of people who have said it's a hoax, who have since contracted the virus, amazingly have survived, and yet still talk about it potentially being a hoax, or it not being as bad as what we've been led to believe. It's like they just decide that truth doesn't matter to them. And I wish that we could just distance ourselves from those people. I wish I could go out right now and not have to mix with people who think it's a hoax and refuse to wear a mask. But because they're doing that, they're going out and refusing to wear a mask, it means I can't go out because I don't want to catch the virus. If it was possible to have two different societies right now, those that believe it's real and those who don't, That would make my life a lot easier, but then you kind of go into Orwellian territory, and perhaps we shouldn't be going there either. It's a strange year. It is a strange year, and I just don't understand why people have to come out and say it's a hoax. Because the other dumb thing is, a lot of the people who do say it's a hoax know that it's not a hoax. It's like magicians, you know? Magicians know it's not real, but their job is to convince other people that it's real. And you have this in society too. You have people who know that something is real, and yet they spend their entire life convincing others that it isn't. Why is that a thing? Psychics spring to mind. They know what they do isn't real. If you're watching this and you're a psychic, you know. Let's be honest here, you know. And if you have people who come to you and want it to be real, then I suppose you're adding to the mystery, and that's almost fine. But if you're duping people, that's totally not cool. Especially when it's something like this and people's lives are at stake. You know, if you're doing it for money, that's one thing, but if you're doing it for just some sick game, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Ashley, hello, welcome. You That's not a great first impression, but yeah, hello. Welcome to the stream. It's good to have you here. We're in the middle of building the East Coast route, or finishing off what's left of the East Coast route that hasn't yet been built. Isn't there another huge obstacle? Yeah, this hill here. I'm wondering what I'm going to do with this. We might split the main lines again. I think we'll come to that in a second. Although I might ask the question now. If I show you it quickly, what do you think we should do with this? Navigating the fast lines and the slow lines. Yeah, people, if no one can talk to the dead, first and foremost. That is something that I'm pretty sure has been scientifically proven several times over by now. I was talking to someone about this the other day, in fact. Ghosts. There is this thing about Anne Boleyn. The ghost of Anne Boleyn haunts Hampton Court. And at the time, the other day, I said I don't think she ever lived there, but I think she did, because Henry VIII was known to live there. But she was killed at the Tower of London. If her ghost was real, why would it haunt the place she lived and not the place she died? Because, you know, normally if you're haunting something, it's because you've got a grudge. So why would you do it at the place where you were happy and not the place where you were wronged? That's the first question I have. Second question I have is, she died in 1540 something, I think it was, or 1530 something. If anyone wants to look that up, you're more than welcome to. Why would she still be haunting it now? No one who was responsible for her death would still be alive now. Even 100 years after she died, no one responsible for her death would still be alive. Why continue to haunt the place? It makes no sense. It's like if you were screwed over by a business, and then that business went out of business and a new business took over the property. You wouldn't keep hounding the new owners, would you? Because it's nothing to do with them. It's just a good story to scare kids, basically. And again, I don't have a problem with that. It's like telling people. Small children, if you're watching right now, cover your ears. It's a bit like when you tell kids that Santa's a thing, you know? It's a bunch of hooey. Oh, I'll put that on a t-shirt any day. It's a rotten bunch of hooey. And I mean, we were talking, the person I was talking to about this, we were talking about magic and stuff as well. And, you know, I know how magic tricks are done. I know how most magic tricks are done. Those that I don't, I can either work it out or I do revel in the mystery. But I like magic because the whole point of magic is not to convince someone that you're supernatural, but it's just to fool someone. It's like a practical joke. I'm not going to debunk practical jokes and say we shouldn't do it because it's a bunch of hooey. I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's funny. And magic, I think it's incredible because now I know how most magic tricks are done. I'm no longer looking at it like, how did they do that? I'm actually looking at the technique of what they did and how brilliant that was instead. So things like sleight of hand, for example. If you can change something in your hand in 0.1 of a second, that is incredibly impressive. So when I see magicians on Britain's Got Talent, 9 times out of 10 I know how the trick's done, but that's not the reason I'm watching it. I'm watching it because I want to see how they did the trick in their own unique way, and that itself is talent, you know. And that's why I like magicians on Britain's Got Talent, and I hate singers, because you can only sing a song so many different ways, whereas you can perform a magic trick thousands of different ways. Like Penn and Teller are the reason I know how magic tricks are done, and they do the cup and balls trick using scrunched up tin foil and solo cups, transparent solo cups. That's a good trick still. You know how it's done, but you can actually watch how they do the subtle changes and things like that, and it's very impressive. It is very impressive. Yeah, and you know, Penn and Teller got booted out of the Magic Circle because they revealed how tricks were done. But I really appreciate the fact that they did that, because otherwise it is a scam. Not every magician is a, you know, trick artist necessarily, but a lot of them like the fact that you don't know how they're doing it. So to actually now have someone or a group of people, you know, however many it might be, come out and say it's still an impressive trick, but this is how they did it, I like that. I think it's really good that they do that. Even if they're making millions of dollars off the back of it still. You know, they got to earn a living somehow, I suppose. I just love the idea of going to Vegas to watch a magic show that is technically not a magic show, because they're not part of the Magic Circle. I really like that. And I like Penn and Teller. I just think they're funny. Very good. Still dangerous, like the nail gun trick that they do. I know how it's done. I know that it's, you know, completely risk-free, but it still has my heart in my chest every time I see, particularly the bit where Penn pretends to forget how the order of the nails are. That's always a good moment. You're always like, oh god, he's going to staple his hand, and then, yeah, you know, he's not really. Wouldn't be broadcastable if he just suddenly put a 3-inch long nail through his hand. And they talk about the history too. It goes back to history. They talk about some of the ancient magic tricks that were performed back in, you know, medieval times, back in the Middle East, in China, places like that. They don't just focus on their front, not their front door, their back door step. They actually go all around the world and talk about how magic has evolved everywhere, and I like that. I'm a big fan of multiculturalism as well, so that always ticks my box. Station here? I think we should have a station here. Probably slow lines only. Again, with the new system of me doing the waypoints and the speed limits and stuff, I can be a bit more liberal with how I place my stations. So if I want 4 platform station, sorry, I can have a 4 platform station, not have to worry about waypoints and route finding and all that stuff. Makes my life a lot easier. There's an alternate universe where Teller has a nail through his cheek and through his crotch. In fact, I think there's an alternate universe where Teller does all the talking and Penn's the silent one. Can you imagine that? If you don't know who Penn and Teller are, by the way, they're brilliant. They're just brilliant. What I love as well, I love it when my favourite artists, creators, whatever it might be, cross paths. So I like The Play That Goes Wrong. As far as I'm aware, it's the best show I've ever seen in London. And, you know, they've spawned the Goes Wrong show from that, and loads of other really cool projects. And one of them is Magic Goes Wrong. And they did that in collaboration with Penn and Teller. So when I first saw that on the poster, I was like, bloody hell. I still think the best example of that is, I used to watch The In-Betweeners when I was younger. I've talked about that before. I've said recently that I probably wouldn't watch it again because it's not that politically correct anymore, but back in the day, it was a very funny show. I'm a big fan of James Buckley. I've watched his YouTube channel since he started it. I think it's great. So imagine my surprise when I also watched Rooster Teeth, who I also think are great, and suddenly he started popping up in their videos, and then he joined the Let's Play team. I don't think he's a member anymore, sadly, but for that brief moment, my mind was blown. I've seen Tom Scott pop up in Corridor Digital videos. That was a complete mind melter as well. I love it. I love seeing collaborations. I'd like to be involved in some one day, but that's a long way off still. But yeah, I just think it's really cool because I like similar types of videos, so I watch similar types of creators. So to see them collaborate, on the surface, it's a no-brainer, but it's still always a bit of a surprise when you suddenly see someone else that you watch and you're like, oh, I didn't know that they knew each other. Sometimes I think stuff it. Like if it's an old show from like the 80s, I don't mind, because that was a different world back then, and a lot of people involved in those projects have since come out and said, you know, it was a different world. If we were to do it now, we wouldn't do it this way. But when it's a show that's less than 10 years old, it kind of just makes me a little uncomfortable some of the time. I'm not saying it's wrong necessarily. I think The Inbetweeners is still a very good show, and I think it deserves its place in comedy history. But James Buckley himself has come out and said that some of the homophobic jokes that they did probably went a little too far, and even he doesn't really endorse them anymore. And I kind of respect him for that. And I think the creators of the show have come out and said something similar. You know, they did their job. They were funny at the time, and it's true to life. They didn't make anything up. I was at sixth form around about the time that show started. Went to college around about the same time, and it is like that. You know, we do say things like that, and we've all said things that haven't aged very well. So there's nothing wrong there. But it's a show where it's lived its time in my life, and now I'm moving on to other things like White Gold, which, you know, it's the Inbetweeners, but they're in their 30s essentially, slightly different cast, of course. And then the First Team. If you've not seen the First Team, that's also the same team that made the Inbetweeners. And again, it's got some unpolitically correct moments, but more akin to modern day society, so it kind of makes sense still. It's also a funny show. I recommend it. And it's football. I mean, who doesn't love football? And yes, before anyone asks, I have still watched Friday Night Dinner. I think that's the important thing. I'm not doing cancel culture. I'm not saying we should cancel the Inbetweeners or anything like that. I'm just saying that over the years, some of the jokes don't quite land like they used to. But that always happens. That always happens. You know, what's his name? Oh, I had it in my head then and I completely forgot. But you know, comedies from the 80s that are now not that politically correct. You still watch them, you still find them funny, but you wouldn't write those jokes now, and that's the difference. Actually, on the theme of Friday Night Dinner, it's my mum's birthday today, so I really should be spending my evening with her, which I will be doing after this, I suppose. But my brother got her a card based on Jim from Friday Night Dinner, and it says, "Happy birthday, Lydia." I know your name's not Lydia, but it was the closest they had in the shop, something like that. I haven't seen that episode, so I don't know the exact quote, but yeah, my parents are hooked on that show now, so whenever I come downstairs, it's always on. They still like the Inbetweeners as well. That's the funny thing, is I feel like I've grown out of it, but they still watch it. Weird. Really weird. Maybe they just want to recapture their youth or something, I don't know. Alright, big bridge across the bay here. I think these two bodies of water should be joined together as well, because that just makes sense. That is the quote. Ah, good. I remembered it. It's just got a picture of Jim on the card, looking confused. I don't know if I like the character of Jim still. I think it's brilliantly played. That's not my gripe. My gripe is, like, some of the characters just feel like they're ticking boxes in that show. Not just that show, but modern comedy in general. I don't want to sound like a critic, because I don't know enough about it myself, but there's a lot of shows now where I kind of just look at it and think, yeah, you're just the annoying best friend. You're just the dad that doesn't understand the kids. That kind of thing. I've been watching a lot of shows that I should have watched back when they were relevant. I started watching Spooks. I got partway through series 3, but I made the mistake of sort of reading ahead as to what was going to happen, and now I don't really want to watch any longer because, you know, one of my favourite characters is due to die in this series. I don't want that to happen. I won't say who it is, just in case there are other people who haven't watched Spooks yet. Yeah, I remember the first time I watched House. I heard a lot of buzz about it back in the day. It was the most watched show on television at the time, and I thought, it can't be that good, surely. And then I was absolutely hooked. Absolutely hooked. Probably my second all-time favourite show after Band of Brothers, in all honesty. Let's go brick arch. That'll look good. Again, I do this a lot. People probably wondering this. Why do I make all 4 bridges differently? And the way I've always seen it in my head is back in Victorian times, they tended to build 2 tracks first, and then in future they would add 2 tracks next to it. So you've got the old track here with the old brick, and then as times progressed, they've built the new pair of tracks next to it for the faster trains, and it's made out of stone instead, but designed to look similar to the old style. That's why I do it like this. Plus, I like these viaducts. I think they look really cool. And you can see here, for example, right through the city centre, they've done a Shoreditch High Street and just made it look spectacular. Yeah, that's what scares me about Friday Night Dinner, is they're not unnecessary characters, as it were, because they are based on real people, and it really frightens me to think that there is someone out there in the world who is Jim. I mean, the whole show, really. The mum's based on the writer's mum, real person. I imagine the dad, similar story. Just, these are real people. And I mentioned that with Band of Brothers. It's one of the reasons I like Band of Brothers, but it absolutely scares the shit out of me with Friday Night Dinner that these are real people. It's like I watched an episode of Towie once, and I had to remind myself, these are real people. This isn't really put on. Kirby Pink, hello, on Twitch. You put a bridge next to an older bridge, it's the child of a bridge. Go forth, my child, you are a train bridge now. That's basically it. Yep, that's about it. I saw a photo the other day of, it was the 4th rail bridge and the 4th road bridge next to it that were built, I think, 100 years apart. And it is like, stay away from my son. Don't talk to my son ever again, that meme. Like, you got this modern bridge with this old bridge next to it. And also the 7 crossings, very similar. Built at different times. Why did I do this? I don't know. 1 second. Let's do it like this instead. Whose dad eats out of the bin? Well, mine certainly doesn't. I can tell you that for nothing. Not that I know of, anyway. And it's perpetually hot as well. I don't know what that's all about. One of my favourite comedies is Not Going Out, because it actually feels... Oops, wrong style. It actually feels real. Like, this could happen. Some of them, you know, they're playing it for laughs, and it's very obvious when they're doing that. But a lot of the time you can look at it and say, yep, that's something that's definitely happened to me. I've never had that feeling with Friday Night Dinner. Me and my brother have never spiked each other's drinks with salt, for example. We've never punched each other in the arm when one of us has just had a tattoo. Mainly because neither of us have ever had a tattoo. Or I certainly haven't. My brother could be a dark horse for all I know. But yeah, just things like that. I just think, is this necessary? Is this what would happen in real life? I'm a realism guy. That's me. If I see something that isn't very realistic, I kind of get tuned off. Not Going Out, I find, can be unrealistic, but at the same time can be very funny. Semi-Detached, on the other hand, which is another Lee Mack comedy that was on quite recently, that was very unrealistic, and I kind of looked at that and thought, okay, this has gone too far into the world of surrealism, I would say. The Severn Bridge. I remember the first time I went across the Severn Bridge. You know, it's that mystical experience of... Because you're travelling into another country as well. Let's be real here. You're not just going across a bridge over a generic river. You are crossing into another country. When you're a kid and you hear that for the first time. Now I know it's part of the UK still, the magic's died. But back then, crossing into Wales was an exciting phenomenon. I still like going to Wales, by the way. I'm not dissing Wales. I'm part Welsh. I have to like Wales. It's the law. Yeah, and Peter Kay. You know, observation comedy. The Peter Kay joke where he talks about the dinner ladies and when it starts raining. That genuinely happened to me at primary school. If it had, like, even if there was a cloud in the sky, we weren't allowed on the grass. We had to stay on the playground. And then they would do the thing where we'd beg and plead for them to go check the wetness of the grass. And eventually they'd allocate a volunteer to go over and they would like rub the grass with the back of their hand to see how wet it was. And then they'd silently nod at us and we'd all just run out with footballs and, you know, cricket balls, whatever it might be. That was my childhood at primary school. So seeing Peter Kay do jokes about that that was incredibly relatable. I have built this line in completely the wrong location. I am a dipstick. Actually, have I? Have I? Yeah, I suppose I have, because getting across the lake here would be troublesome. You are part whale, so you swim with the fishes and play with the dolphins. Ha. Ha. Yes, I'm not part Welsh, I am part whale. I am a lazy lump, so that does speak volumes, actually. I think that was a bit too true. I need a minute now, just to contemplate my life choices. I've had many moments in my life that mirror Seinfeld. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Some of Seinfeld is just too real. I've never watched Seinfeld. I've never watched it. I've seen clips of it. I've never watched an episode. I've technically watched Curb Your Enthusiasm because I watched Lead Balloon, which is basically the British version of Curb Your Enthusiasm. One of my favourite shows recent years was Trolleyed, because when I was younger, my mum worked in a supermarket, and there are genuinely people out there who act like the characters. Ooh, did not mean to do that. Who act like the characters in Trolleyed. So that's also quite realistic. It's also very funny. It was one of these shows where it had a series where it just wasn't that great, and you kind of felt like this is the beginning of the end, and it's almost like they changed their writing staff or something, because the next series after that was really, really good again. I was actually very, very disappointed when it ended, and not that often these days do I get disappointed when a show ends. Like The Big Bang Theory, I'd stopped watching it 4 or 5 years before it ended, so I wasn't too upset to see that one go, and yet when I first started watching it, I loved it. I was actually more sad that it turned crap rather than it ended. Because that's the worst thing. In America, the way the system works is you'll pilot a show, and if it's successful, it won't just be like here in the UK, we'll do it a series at a time and see what happens. They'll like block order it. So they'll say, we're going to have, I mean, the Grand Tour was quite similar to this. They ordered 36 shows over 3 years. So it was 3 lots of 12. Although I think in the end they did, was it 12, 11, 13 was the order they did it. And that's what they do. So they'll say we'll have 500 shows spread over 8 seasons. Does that add up? That doesn't add up at all, does it? That's 50 episodes a season. That's not right. You know what I mean, though. And, you know, it's fine. It works for them. But that's why you always end up with a show that goes out with a whimper rather than a bang. Because it's just, they're contractually obligated to finish it. Lost, for example, that was one where I think even the writers afterwards said that they wanted to end it 3 years early and they couldn't because of the contractual obligation. I hate that expression, by the way, contractual obligation. Ugh. As someone who's kind of been a victim to that myself, you've signed the contract, you read the fine print, which I did do, actually. Again, I'm probably not going to tell that story because it's not worth telling, but I was the one who exploited the loopholes, actually. I've also written my fair share of contracts over the years, so I kind of know how they work. You do sometimes throw in little things here or there that screws people over. I haven't watched the chat for ages, so I've probably missed loads of stuff. Michael McIntyre talking about public toilets. People nick them. Yeah, people nick them. Yeah, Good Night Sweetheart. That was one with rose-tinted glasses when they did the one-off special a few years ago. It was kind of like, oh yeah, I remember this show. It was great. And then I watched some old videos of it and I thought, oh yeah, it wasn't that great. The best one, me and my brother were talking about this earlier, Pokemon. Absolutely loved Pokemon when it first came out. Best thing ever. But when was it Netflix they brought the old episodes onto? And the day that launched, we watched like the first series, and by the end of it, like our childhoods were dead because we just thought, what is this? And to be fair, it's not we're not the target market. It was a completely different generation, but you you get to that stage where you just think this is the cringiest thing I've ever seen, and we used to worship it like it was the best thing ever. So I've still got my old Pokemon cards somewhere. They're probably worth a fair bit of money these days. That's a really disappointing feeling. And I kind of had the same thing when I rewatched Thomas the Tank Engine not long ago, where it was still as good as you remember, but it's just not for you anymore. And people often interpret that as it's bad, but it's not bad. It's like, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. It's not you. That's the thing. It's not for you anymore. It's for someone else. And you know, Pokemon always talk about the new generations of Pokemon being bad, but they're not for us. They're for 5 and 6-year-olds, maybe up to age 10. Of course they're not making it for 26, 27-year-olds. And they also don't really care that we as 26, 27-year-olds don't like it, because it's not for us. If they can sell toys to 6-year-olds, that's what they were made for. And some of the new Pokemon I actually think are pretty damn cool. But that's a different argument for a different day, I would say. Oh god, Judge Rinder. Yeah, I actually at one point earlier this year, I seriously considered contacting that show. Just because, you know, getting legal help, particularly during COVID as well, a lot of local law firms were talking more about, you know, if you've been made redundant because of COVID, we'll help you out. They weren't interested in helping people in general employment law. So at one point I thought, you know, this is a good story for TV. A lot of people would pay a lot of attention to this. It might be worth contacting them. But then I thought, do I really want to be on TV doing this? And I decided, no, I don't think I do. So that didn't happen in the end. But imagine that. I love Thomas. I will never grow out of that show. Thunderbirds as well. If you rewatch the old episodes, the marionettes, some of it is a bit cringe. But then you've got to remember, when it was made, it was cutting edge. And actually, it's only cringy because I always bigged it up like it's this amazing show. But you kind of got to appreciate it for what it is now rather than what you thought it was. And it's still a great show. The remake even is a good show. I don't like the fact they CGI'd it. I would have preferred it if they, I don't know, live action even over CGI. But still a good show. They did a good job with it. They got some good voice actors in. And I think they did a bloody good job with it. Thomas the Tank Engine, with the new direction it's taken, and again, I've got to be careful not to be a hypocrite here because I am not the target audience, but back in the day it used to be every episode basically had a moral, and it was teaching kids this is right, this is wrong. Some of the more modern episodes, it's kind of taken that a little too far, or it's like some of the short films they do, it's like an evil fisherman that's trying to get treasure or something, and what's that got to do with being kind and not being a dick to people? Thunderbirds is perfect. We can just, yeah, that sentence. Someone clip that sentence. That is all I needed to hear today. Thunderbirds is a brilliant show. And the number of people I've spoken to where I've talked about Thunderbirds and they've gone, oh, what's that? And I've had to restrain myself from slapping them. Thunderbirds is brilliant. I love that show so much. Even though, you know, it's crude animation, didn't always work. Some of the effects were a little bit iffy, but every episode something blew up. And when you're 8, that's all you want in life, is explosions. Explosions, fast flying craft, and a guy named Virgil. That is all you need in life. Not Van Dyke, he can do one. Anyone else called Virgil though, don't mind you. Thunderbirds is great. Yep, I'm a happy man now. You're all agreeing with me. That's all I need in life. I can die happy now. Johnny English I liked. Mr. Bean kind of grated on me after a while. I still appreciate it. I still think it's brilliant. I still think Rowan Atkinson is a genius. But of all of his characters, the ones I actually prefer were the ones he used to do in his stand-up show. And a lot of people don't even know that he was a stand-up for a while. If you can even call it stand-up. He was basically he did sketches live on stage. So it's not really stand-up. But some of those were brilliant. Like the Innuendo's Schoolmaster. That's a good one. Bit of blue. What else did he do? The inappropriate wedding speech as well. That's quite a funny one. The sermon where he talks about Jesus turning water into wine and someone asking him if he could do kids' parties. That's a really good one. Again, that goes back to magic. Not to shit on religion, of course, but just as a joke in itself, it's quite funny. Oh yeah, the Thunderbirds intro. The Thunderbirds intro is just. Yes, the dating advice one as well. That's brilliant. Like it talks about meeting the girl's parents for the first time, and he like shouts "Mummy, Daddy" and just runs at them. Yeah, the Thunderbirds intro. And actually, a lot of people didn't like the live-action Thunderbirds film. I'm not a huge fan of it, but the theme tune from Busted, that's what won me over with Busted. They did such a good job with that. Even now, it's in my playlist, and I probably shouldn't admit to that, but it's in my playlist. Love it so much. The film wasn't that bad. The opening act where you see Thunderbird 1 come out of the smoke for the first time, that gave me goosebumps. That was so good. And actually, Thunderbird 1 and Thunderbird 2 look so cool in that film. Thunderbird 3 was a bit iffy. Thunderbird 5 was a bit too rounded for my liking. But yeah, Thunderbirds 1 and 2, they just nailed. They look so good. Is it possible to lie awake at night and dream of a spacecraft? Or, you know, flying craft? Oh, Brains was a douche in that film, though. Didn't like him. What a muppet. Just calling someone who's, you know, a live action character based on a puppet, calling them a muppet. It seems like there's a kind of irony in there somewhere. Brick arch, that's what I was looking for. This bridge here, I'm going to have to sculpt the land to make it make sense. There we go. Who else? Oh, Ricky Gervais as well, when he did his stand-up. People told him when he first said he wanted to do stand-up, people told him it was a mistake and he wouldn't be any good at it. Oh, how wrong they were. He's one where I talk about, you know, political correctness and what feels right and what feels wrong. I like his comedy because he tackles it head on, and he actually says, you know, anything's a joke if you want it to be funny. Whether it's appropriate or not is not up to you. That's subjective. But you can't cancel someone. There's a really good quote of his, which is, "You said something I don't like, therefore I'm going to get you cancelled." But you can say that about anything. And there's who is it? There's an Australian comedian, Steve. Oh God, what's his surname? But he does a very similar joke, which is, people who get offended at things offends me. And that is exactly it. I get offended. Like when I watch football, I'm watching football without crowd noise at the moment because I just think it's fake. And again, I'm Mr. Realism. And every time you hear the players swear and they apologise for the bad language, me and my mum, we both go, "Oh, for God's sake, of course they're swearing, it's football." You know, I'm in the crowd saying God knows what, week in, week out, when I'm at Stevenage. No one's apologising for my language. I don't care that they swear. I actually find it quite interesting to listen to how they talk to each other on the pitch. You know, there's a lot of swearing. Of course there is. Someone might be out of position, and a goal might be scored because of it, and you hear them turn around and blame each other. I actually find that funny, particularly when the team that has been scored against is Liverpool. I find that absolutely hilarious. If you're a Liverpool fan, I'm sorry. I've just grown up to hate you. It might be the fact that you're all smug bastards. That might be a reason why I don't particularly enjoy watching Liverpool. Certainly don't enjoy watching them win. But yeah, I get so wound up when they apologise for bad language. I wish they would apologise more for the shitty commentary than they do for the bad language. My bro agrees. Like, you hear them talk absolute bullshit in commentary, and then they'll go, "Oh, someone said the S word, sorry." And, you know, you've heard this absolute bile be spilling out for so long, and then someone apologises because you heard, you know, the F word or whatever, and it's just like, come on now. Some people don't like swearing, that's fine. But you don't have to apologise on behalf of someone else because they swore. It's almost like patronising. Ooh, they said an oopsie word. Not a fan of that. If they want to swear, let them swear. I don't care. I've got the Thunderbirds tune playing in my head right now as well. If I start humming it, I apologise for that. No one's going to be getting offended by that though. At least I hope not. Otherwise we really are in a new generation of political correctness. Actually, that's one reason I do like Thunderbird still, is it was made back in the 60s, and I think they had some, like, maybe some racial stereotypes here and there and whatnot, but a lot of it was, like, a lot of the villains were American, apart from the Hood, who wasn't American, but even then you can't really say that that's that unrealistic, considering what's going on in the world right now. I'll say it's pretty tastefully done. The Andersons did a good old job. A lot of their shows were good. My dad grew up watching things like Joe 90. That was one of theirs, wasn't it? I think that was one of theirs. Captain Scarlet. Stingray. I watched a little bit of Stingray when I was younger. That was I never quite got my head around what that show was actually about, though, so I might have to watch it again. And Captain Scarlet, you hear about the Mysterons, they don't die, and Captain Scarlet doesn't die, and it terrified me as a kid. Like, all these indestructible people walking around. God, what else did I watch? Oh, Postman Pat as well, I watched growing up. First time I went to Longley, they had a Postman Pat village. They say never meet your heroes, but I'm telling you, Pat Clifton, top guy. And yes, that is his surname. That was a quiz question recently. What is Postman Pat's surname? I think it was asked on Eggheads or something, to the Egghead, and they didn't know the answer. And me and my bro were just sitting there going, "It's Clifton! It's Clifton! His surname's Clifton!" You know when you get triggered by something that you really shouldn't be getting triggered by. Apparently people not knowing Postman Pat as a surname, that really grinds my gears. Alrighty, platforms are going to be going here, north to south orientation. This street here might need to be removed. This one here, I'd quite like to keep. I kind of want the town of Pruntford to grow up around these hills. So I'm going to try and terraform it away from here. That kind of works. I might have to remove this street and go from this side. On the buses, blimey, yeah. My mum watched that. Postman Pat, Postman Pat, Postman Pat and his black and white cat. Yeah, if you don't wake up in the morning humming that tune, there's something wrong with you. Bob the Builder as well, before they ruin that one with CGI. Oh, it's that road that's in the way. Oh, I suppose because it's on the same... Oh, God. Right, okay. I'm going to have to go back a little bit on what I said. Maybe I'll terraform first and then build the streets in after. That might work better. Seriously? Come on, game. Cut me some slack. Are you going to let me do it now? Yes. Right. That'll do, I think. So this here is the limit. And then I'll build some more roads that kind of go around this way. What I don't understand is, why did Bob the Builder need to be CGI'd? You know, Neil Morrissey was a fine voice actor for Bob the Builder. He had #1 hit with it, for Christ's sake. Why did they feel the need to replace him, first of all, as the voice actor, and then second of all, why did they feel the need to take everything we loved about that show and shit all over it? Why did that have to be done? Like, Thomas... what is now Thomas and Friends, but we will forever call it Thomas the Tank Engine. That went CGI to save on costs. You know, Hit Entertainment bought the rights and they wanted to cut down on production costs. And I must admit, running around Shepperton Studios, playing model trains probably would have been quite an expensive hobby. So I kind of agree with that one. But I don't like the direction that the storytelling has gone in. If that's something you can even say about Thomas the Tank Engine. Oh, I didn't like the direction they went on with the main storyline. Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of that, but I get it. I know why they did it, and as I've gotten older, you kind of justify it a little bit more. But Bob the Builder, that's inexcusable. I've also made this station way too big, by the way. I could probably fill, this section in like that, and on this side, because we're not gonna have that many trains using this really. Maybe a couple of express Gronnwell to Pruntford trains. But a lot of it, I mean, how many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 8 platforms. That should be enough. I can't see us needing more than that. Now, are Pruntford going to let me build new platforms here? That's the next question. I have a horrible feeling the answer is going to be Oh, they are. Well, that's good. Very happy about that. Now, the story of this station is it was built by 2 separate companies at 2 separate times. So there will be like a service road that runs along here, and there will be another station building. So this still might even be moved further north. Tom and Jerry CGI. Yeah, they did that, didn't they? Kinda. I used to play on the Lieutenant Joker patch, and there was an issue with inflation in the game. So I was losing like trillions of pounds every hour. So I used the cheat menu to just give myself a load of money, and then not long after I did that, I switched over to the JGR patch and just forgot to give the money back, essentially. So yeah, I'm I'm pretty well off right now. But if you actually look how much my company loses every year, what's that, 12 billion? Mind you, that's mostly from construction, so that kind of makes sense. But before that, even like 169 million pounds. It's nice to have a little buffer that I can kind of sit back on and not have to worry about going completely bankrupt. So it's kind of cheating. It is kind of cheating, but it's not. I'm not playing on unlimited money, so that's my defense, and I'll stick to it. Oh, that's what I could do. So yeah, this is something I used at Freeham Parkway. Eagle-eyed viewers might have spotted that on the Discord. I might put one of these here, because it's going to be this road here, for example, is going to come round and down this way. So the 2 stations will be connected, if you can imagine that in real life. In fact, I might even add an extra platform here, and then there'll be like a walkway underground in real life. But for oh, this is what I wanted to try. So this is a station building, right? Oh, it's the other way. That doesn't quite work with what I had in mind then. That's annoying. But yeah, I want to put a lot more thought into my station builds now, and actually make them look a little bit nicer. So if I go... Oh, this could work. Kinda. Maybe it's a bit too big. I could build this somewhere. Bahecity. Some of the stations in Bahecity could get a makeover with that. That would be pretty nice, I would say. What can I use? I was hoping for more options still, actually. A little bit disappointed. Maybe I will just build it in the same style. Might have to at this rate. Either that or I create a false roof with this. Yeah. I think when I rebuild the Transrapid station at Bahecity, I might use that one. So let's have a look. So let's maybe decorate it on the outside with this instead. So we can go with... I mean, does this have buffer stops inside it? That's the question. I think the answer is no. It kind of works. Kind of works. Then we'll do 2 and 2. And I suppose the good thing about that then is I can go island platforms and build this without having to worry about putting the buffer stops in. I can never get my trains to never crash with the stoplights for trains or crash into buses over roads. So I just make a track for each train and bridges over the roads. I have a signalling tutorial. If you go back through, I think it is this series, I have a signalling tutorial that I did a couple of years ago. I mean, it doesn't fully explain all of the signalling and how it works. It mainly focuses on... Oh, I don't know if I want those to be island platforms, actually. That might not work. Oh well, I've done it now. It kind of focuses a little bit more on how I signal my network. So it does talk about the basic functionality of the others, but not to a huge extent. But yeah, if you want some help with signals, I mean, I'm obviously going to recommend that as the first port of call. I read something really funny the other day. It's something I would never say myself because I don't think it's true, but it still made me chuckle a little bit. Someone was asking on the Reddit about how to build branch lines and stuff like that, and the first reply I read was from someone saying, don't watch Master Hellish, he's a bit of a noob. And I don't think that's true at all, because a lot of what I learned was from watching him, both good and bad, because I used to watch his style for like building big stations is kind of inspired by him, but I used to also watch some of the ways he built certain stations. I used to think, oh, I wouldn't do it like that, I would do it like this instead. And then when I started making my own content, that sort of seeped over. So I learned from watching someone else's mistakes, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, you've got the most efficient system. There's no right or wrong way to play this game. That's something, when I do my other series, that is something I will stress a lot, is there is no right or wrong way to play Transport Tycoon at all. It is entirely at your discretion how you play the game. I've always said that, even in my tutorial videos. I always started by saying, I'm going to teach you how I play the game. That's not necessarily the best way. I think it's always a good idea to pretext. I really hate it on the City Skylines Reddit, where someone says, how do you build a motorway junction? And the first comment is always, watch Biffa's videos. Because Biffa, I think even Biffa would admit, Biffa's not God. Biffa isn't the best at this, that or the other. And I really think you can't tell someone how to be creative. That's something they have to learn themselves. And City Skylines is a very creative game. You can't tell someone this is the right way to do this when it's creativity. There is no right way of doing things in that field. There can be wrong ways to do it, don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of the time there's no right way of doing it, and I always think it's really dumb. First of all, it's really dumb to put your junctions in the wrong place. That's on me. But second of all, I've always felt it's really dumb to say to someone, this is how you should be doing it. I always prefer to say, this is how I do it. It's up to you if that's the way you want to do it. But if someone is asking me for advice on something, I can only tell them what I would do. I can't tell them what they should be doing. And, you know, that's today's life lesson. I always hate that, though. I hate it when people try and tell me how to run my channel for the same reason. You can't tell someone how to be creative. It's not how it works. You can give someone advice. You can say things like, you know, when I'm editing this, I would do it this way. And that's valuable. But you can't say to someone, you should do it this way. It doesn't work. And I still like watching how other people build stations and stuff. I think there's a lot of genius out there. Particularly in this game. There's a lot of genius out there. A lot of it is hidden as well. It needs to be sort of brought to the forefront a little bit more. I'm just wondering, should I have built that on that side? I mean, I've kind of done it now, so I'm stuck with it. Okay, I can make it work still. I'm going to go you, and then you. I don't like that, though. I don't like it. Do it the way you like doing it. Yeah, if it works for you, then do it like that. If I want to build bridges over my rails, I'll build bridges under my rails. Over and under. Hey, hey. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I've got this new series in the works, of why do I do things the way I do them, and the history of the M4J Network is what its working title is currently. But it's because I have had a lot of people, not ask it maliciously, but a lot of people say, why have you done it like that? And instead of just answering the same question over and over again, I thought, you know what, there's a chance to make a good video series here where I talk about it. Because they're not even saying you're doing it wrong. They're just saying, why have you decided to do it that way? And I think that's the right question, is to not say to someone you're doing it wrong, but to ask them, why have you done it that way? Because chances are the explanation is all they need, and they'll be perfectly happy with that. It's the not knowing, really, rather than the you're doing it wrong. I mean, again, I say that. I watch a lot of Siege fail videos, and I am sitting in the living room screaming, you're doing it wrong. So I am that person, as well as not liking that person. I'm a hypocrite. I think we can all agree on that. Do you know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to build tunnels. Because again, I've got this new system now for doing speed limits. So trains are going to be going quite slowly through this section anyway. I'm not going to do the speed limits on stream because I think we all value life and don't want to be stuck here for 3 hours while I do that. Plus I'm hungry, so I'm going to go grab some food soon. Because I've been streaming for, coming up for, you know, an hour and 3/4 now. But yeah, stay tuned for that series. I think it'll be, I hope it'll be quite popular when it comes out. I have no time frame on that right now though, because as I say, I've written the script and I wrote the script and I read it again and I just looked at it and thought, none of this makes sense. It's a bit all over the place. It's that thing that I always criticize other people for doing, where it starts off here and then it jumps over there, then it switches back again, and it's kind of pick a topic and stick to it. So I think the first episode is going to be the history of OpenTTD and how that came to be, because I learned a valuable lesson recently, which is if someone who was there when the game was first sort of made, if they tell you where the origin of the name came from, don't argue with them because they're right and you're wrong. And that's something I learned recently, so again, I hold my hands up on that one. But it's actually a really interesting story about OpenTTD and the people involved in the original creation and the whole, even I was very lucky that I got to see some screenshots of some of the conversations that went on back then, and even the whole conversation about what license will they use for it. Some people just don't really consider that at the time, that there's a whole legal discussion going on. It's not just a case of this has to be done or we should do it this way because it's easier. There is also that discussion of we have to do it that way because we have to do it that way. It's the law. And that's something that I've had experience of this year, where it kind of fell on deaf ears because the people I was saying it to didn't understand why I was saying it. Maybe since then they've learnt why I was saying it, but I don't know. It's not for me to say. Yeah, it's an interesting story. So I think that warrants its own episode. How OpenTTD came to be. And then after that, I'll talk about the first map that I played on. In fact, I'll talk about the previous attempts as well, because I always feel like that's a big part of the series too. Was the Jeffries network wasn't attempt number 1 at doing an OpenTTD series. It was actually the last attempt, the final attempt I was going to make. And if it didn't work out, it didn't work out. I don't know why suddenly that was the one that worked and the other ones weren't. Who knows? But it was, so I'm quite happy about that. How am I going to do this? I think I'm just going to carve another. I kind of want the tunnels to be different lengths, that's the thing. So I think what I'm actually going to do is not have this bit. Actually, I'll have it go to there. And then, a bit like the tunnels under the Alps, the rail tunnels under the Alps, I'm going to sort of stagger these a little bit. So you're going to go there. You're also going to come across like so. I feel like I lost my train of thought there, if you'll pardon the pun. Oh yeah, the series. So yeah, just talking about the first map, and the original first map, the one from when I used to stream way back when, 2013, I think it was 2014, something like that. Then I'll talk a little bit more about the first map, the proper first map that I worked on, which was the Jeffries network, episode 1 of that, and how that came to be. And then maybe a little bit more on, you know, some of the other maps. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it that much, and I should have. I'll work it out. If you've got any, as what I said in Tuesday's episode, if you've got any questions about my build style or about the history of the M4J network or the Jeffries network that you'd like answered, feel free to ask them, because that will help me write the script. That will help me a lot with writing the script, so please do ask those questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question here, and this is a good opportunity if you are wondering why I do things the way I do them. That's what this series is literally about, so feel free to ask them. Alright, let's have that tunnel be that long, and then let's have this tunnel be this long. Maybe that's a bit too short. I don't know, that should be fine. Ugh, got hairs in my mouth. And then here will be the final crossover. I might make this a really unconventional crossover, actually. I like that idea. Oil wells in the way. Gosh darn it. But yeah, I'm excited about that series. It sounds like from some of the feedback I got that other people are excited about it too, which is good. So here's hoping. Here's hoping it does well. So yeah, this slow line here is going to come this way, and there's going to be a single connector between the slow lines here and the fast line. Although saying that, first and foremost I need to redo this a little bit because there needs to be a signal here. So this section here can come back. Ooh, not that far. I didn't quite go to plan. There we go. Yeah, saying that, I still need to... I suppose I don't have to. No, I suppose I don't have to, because I can use wayfinding control. It should be fine. And if I need to add extra tunnels here for capacity reasons, I can add one to the west and one to the east. So that works out quite well as well. But yeah, you are going to go there. You need to cut back actually because you're in the way. And then you're going to come across like this. And then across like this. You're going to connect like that. You're going to connect like that. You're going to go like this. And that's how that one's going to work. Likewise, you're going to come down here and you're going to come up here. That's actually, that's a really bad place for that crossover, but I suppose it has to go there really. So I'm going to do this, and I'm also going to do this. And then on the other side, I suppose it's going to have to be scissors. Like that. Yeah, I suppose it's going to have to be like that. And then you're going to go like that and like that. So you're only 4 long. But I suppose you count the 5th one here. So that kind of works. I'm happy with that. I'm not unhappy with that. Let's put it that way. You're going to come out here a little bit further just so I can add some extra signals. One more should be fine. So if we say the speed limit around the entryway here is around like say 25, 35 miles an hour, something like that, then by the time we get down to here it could drop to 15 or 10, and that kind of works out quite well. Yeah, the slow line here, I'm going to have it go through Keywood and then back up to Warnwell, whereas the fast line pretty much from here, I'm just going to have it tunnel under to there, and then you're just going to go straight across. Sorry, Quarry. You're just going to go straight across like so, and then drop down and join up. Perfect. We're on the home stretch. I didn't think I was going to get all of this done today, actually. I'm quite surprised. Because when I looked at it earlier, just to remind myself just what needed doing, I suddenly realised how long this route was, and I started thinking, oh god, it's going to be like many streams where I say we're going to do this, this and this, and I don't even finish the first thing, never mind do the rest. I'm quite surprised I got through all of this. And for those of you that don't know, next week's stream, I will put it up ASAP on the channel. I might queue up the next like 2 or 3 streams after this one, but the next week's one is going to be rebuilding Guard City North and South freight terminals, so I can get the freight system rejigged and working again. I'm not going to change the sort of philosophy of it too much. I know I kind of hinted that I might in the chat the other day, but I think the majority of it I'm actually quite happy with. There's just a few logistical tweaks that I would like to make. Again, I know I'm doing a lot of bulldozing here as well, and I apologise profusely for that, but I kind of want this track to get pretty close here, and then climb up slightly. So I'm going to have to destroy some streets here, because the station's basically going to go in this site here, and then dive underground, and then join up with the line into Pruntford. Got the name. This, by the way, this is the final piece of the puzzle. If we get this bit done, which we will do shortly, all 4 corners of the map will be linked by at least 1 main line. In some cases 2. In fact, all 4 corners of the map will now be linked by 2 main lines. So you've got the East Coast main line here from Pruntford to Gronnwell. You've also got the Great Northern Grand Northern main line that connects to the North Valleys line that connects over to Sunnington. You've got the South Coast line from Pruntford here that runs across to Sanley, and then you've got the Western Reaches that then turns into the West Coast line that runs from Sanley up to Sannington. So they are all connected by Sunnington. Sorry, not Sannington. They're all connected by at least 2 main lines. Plus you've also got like the West Winds line, for example, that runs from Sunnington to GSG. So yeah, cool. The network is growing. Once all 4 corners, it's like when you do a jigsaw, isn't it? You do the corners first, and once they're all done, then you start connecting the middle. That's basically where we're at. We've done all 4 corners. Now it's time to start connecting the middle again. But I would like to get the freight system up and running proper. Because that's now the next phase of the plan, is to get freight trains running across the entirety of the map. And once that's done, I don't mind testing with freight trains because they're kind of, I feel like they're slightly more expendable. Even though I think actually, what are the, where is it? It's cargo payment rates. That's what I want. So right now, God, can anyone make sense of these? Right now, this is going to look good in the time lapse, by the way. Right now, passengers have dipped below, what's red? Building materials? Yeah, bloody hell, passengers are worth less than building materials. And what's the brown line? Can I select it here? No. Is it wood? No, that's wool. No, it's not wood. Is it scrap metal? Wow, scrap metal and materials are worth more than a human being. That's where we're at in society now, people. That's where we're at in society. So just remember that next time you're on a train, you're worth less than that freight train that you pulled over so you could go by. Maybe I'm coming at this from the wrong angle then. Maybe I should test it with passenger trains, and if they crash, not to worry. I don't know. That's a bit insensitive. Oh, for God's sake. I don't want to demolish these towns. They make me do it. Oh, for God's sake. It's going to destroy that house as well. I have to build several statues of myself here at this rate just to make them forgive me. Alright, tunnel, tunnel. Dirt, dirt. Dirt and dirt. So that's all that done. Now, slow lines. There we go, and then find one on straight piece. Up here. Wow, my stomach is really churning. Don't know if you heard that. Hopefully my microphone didn't pick that up. Apologies if it did. It's dinner time, people. It is dinner time. Here we are. So that's that done, and then we're going to go like that, and like that, and then we're going to put bidirectional path signals like so. This is the first section done all the way up to here-ish. So I still need to go like that, and also like that, and like that. While we're here, by the way, because I will be finishing the stream once I've done the signalling in the stations, so if you have any ideas, there are lots of people in the chat right now. They're probably all going to disappear now I've said that, but there are lots of people in the chat right now, so if you have ideas for what you'd like to see on the network, as I said, I'm going to be planning streams a few weeks in advance now, so I need ideas early. But yeah, next week is going to be freight terminal stuff. The week after that, I did have an idea. What was it going to be? I think it was going to be adding more bus routes in and stuff like that, and finishing off the Guard City Orbital, because I never finished it. Can you believe it? I started it, that was last year as well, and I never finished it. Professional as I am. So that all needs doing. But yeah, any other ideas, feel free to suggest them. There are other branch lines and stuff that I said I would build that and never did, so if there's any of those as well, remind me, because I've clearly forgotten. Why is this not signal? What did I miss? Oh, no, yeah, I know what I've missed. The bloody obvious is what I've missed. Somewhere, I need to find, this is going to be tricky, I need to find a straight piece of track, there's one, that has a signal on, so I can do that and that. And then I need to do the same thing on the fast line. Help? Somewhere over here? This side of the tunnel, maybe? No? Side of this? There we go. Finally. One there. One there. And then somewhere up here is the next Junction station. Yep. Oh, we nearly made it. We nearly made it. That's a shame. I remember when I built the high-speed network and I carefully measured it, or at least I did with the first 2 lines. I carefully measured it so that each signal was always 20 tiles away from the previous one. And then I built the Bahecity connection. I just thought, screw it, and just did it how I would normally do it. I tried, guys. I tried so hard to make that. I mean, it did work still, don't get me wrong. High speed, I don't think it's particularly profitable right now because of the way it's working. There's only one service on each line. But I think the network as a whole, I still think there's a bug carried over from the Joker patch where trains aren't earning as much money as they should. Because I mentioned on Discord earlier about how GWR was making quite a lot of money. But if I select it now... Oh, it is back to making money. Overnight, because a year in this game, because I'm playing using real time, a year isn't a real life year, because that would be ridiculous. So it's tricky to use this as a datum. So it says it's made £13 million in the last year, but I think that's basically the last 20 minutes, something like that. So that's another reason why, like, people keep asking me for my profit and loss and things like that. And they also, like, George, I know you have your charts and stuff, and the reason I'm saying don't use it is not because I think it's dumb, because I don't think it's dumb, I think it's genius, but it's because the numbers aren't particularly helpful. And that's why I'm not doing it with my stuff, because I don't think the numbers are particularly helpful. Oh, we've connected all these up. That's cool. I will build a station over here, actually. I wasn't going to originally, but I think I will. But yeah, I think you're better off sort of making your own time frame and saying how much money it makes then. Because, yeah, I don't use conventional means, as it happens. So it's probably not the best. Yes, so we got the lines out of... Got several different branch lines. There's the ones over here. This is the main line, this one here. But yeah, there was a whole network, wasn't there, where they all kind of... There was this one that then branched off into 2 different lines. Yeah, one that way, one down this way. Did this one connect up to... Yeah, that one connected up over there. This one connected up to another line that then branched down. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. Join the dots. Oh, cross-region. That's something. And cross-country. That's something else I'll do. That's very much dependent on how many of the other lines I get converted. But I suppose we could just have an episode where we place down loads of cross-country and cross-region services and finally get those up and running. Although, again, I will say... I say and again a lot as well. That must be annoying for you guys. Apologies for that. The long distance trains aren't actually making me much money right now, and the reason is, if I do collapse all, scroll to the bottom, look how much these trains are losing me each year. 1.2 million, 1.5 million, 17.4 million in total, but then the running cost is £1.5 million a year, and it's because of the Mark 1s. And I again mentioned this on Tuesday. The one reply I got from that was to just change the source code, but I don't feel comfortable doing that still, because I don't feel like it's mine to change. So I think I might just change my base costs mod to make that work. Could just class it as 13 million for GWR with a note about its timetable, I suppose. I mean, I'll show you how much it fluctuates. 2 minutes before I started the stream, this was minus 5 million. Now it's plus 14 million, and you can see the year before 4 million. Even now it's gone up from 12 to 14. So as the day progresses, we're now 7 AM in game time. We started at 6 AM, didn't we? So it rises by a fair amount. And the trains, when they're running during the day, do make a fair amount of money. But at night, when they're sitting around not doing much, they also lose a fair amount of money. That's it's one of the reasons why I talked about a night timetable as well, because at the moment the franchise as a whole loses money overnight, and that in real life I don't think really happens. So yeah, that's one reason why I talked about that on Discord. But I don't know. It depends. Again, it's subjective. It's how you want to do it, because it's your thing. It's not really for me to say. But it's something I'm avoiding doing right now, because it's... I mean, I can keep track of how much money everything makes and loses, but I've had people in the past criticize me for losing lots of money. Like people demanding that I reveal my figures because I was losing money. I don't want to do that anymore. I always feel bad in Football Manager when I talk about the club's finances, because I feel like someone's going to criticize me for spending too much money, and it's ridiculous. It shouldn't be that way at all. It's my game. I can play it how I like. It's how I look at it normally. But at the same time, I don't like it when people criticize me for spending too much. It's really, like, YouTube as a whole, it's just weird. I have this attitude of I don't care, but I also have this attitude of I care too much. And finding that mix sometimes can be really difficult. Yeah, I'm going to put stairs here as well. And yeah, actually, before I do anything else, because the game is jumping around all over the place at the moment, so I'm going to save. I think in a couple of weeks' time, again, depending on how many routes I get converted. If I get lots of routes converted and I put in all the cross-region and cross-country services, then I think I'm at a stage where I can release the map up on my website. Because I know that people want to download it, and I know that I keep saying it's coming, and it's almost like clickbait now because I keep saying it's coming and then it still hasn't. But I promise you guys, it is coming. I just want to make sure that I'm not releasing something that's half done. Because again, I don't want to be criticised for doing that. I'm not Bethesda. I tend to release things when they're complete. If you don't get that reference, that's probably the sassiest thing I've said all year. Or at least that's the sassiest thing I've said publicly all year. Could use day peak earnings. Tell you what. I think the best way of doing it would be if I sent you the save file and you periodically took notes as to how much money it was making and losing. Because I mean, even now, like, how long's it been? We're still in 14 million right now. When it jumps up, we're in November for date, but we're 7 AM for time. So it'll change so much. If you want to put an asterisk next to it, that's entirely up to you. But I also wouldn't blame you if you just didn't worry about it, to be fair. I don't think I'm going to put roofs on all of these stations. But if I send you the save file, and if you want to watch it yourself and periodically make notes, because I don't think I can accurately supply the information to you, because I leave this game running all night and all day a lot of the time, so it will change a lot throughout the day. It will fluctuate all over the place. What else should I put on this platform? I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to move the signs over one. So you and you. And then I'm also going to put a bridge at this end of the platform. Like so. And then I'm going to put a ticket machine here. And I'm going to put a scheduler. Actually, I'm going to put a dispatch cabin here. And then I'm going to put... Is that what I want? No, that's not what I want. What do I want? Oh, I think I've just realised how these platforms work. I think you're supposed to put this and then one of these. I've never done that. It's interesting to learn. But yeah, I'm going to put... where is it? That's what I was looking for. There we go. So yeah, you walk up, you buy your ticket, and then if you need to go to the other platform, you can do. Alright, over here, I'm going to use island platforms, I think, for the fast lines through there. I will come back and rename all these as well, so they can be added to the map and the station codes. But I'm not going to do it right now, so I can get all these done. My phone's been buzzing a fair amount, and I have a horrible feeling I might have missed some important messages. Because as I said, I'm doing the hashtag. I'm doing the... oh no, I don't think there's anything particularly important. I'm doing the women's team program for their first match this week. So it's quite a big deal for them. It's quite a big deal for the club as a whole, really, because having a women's team now, that's quite a big deal, and a youth team. I don't know if I'll be doing the youth bio though, because I don't think they have match programs. But yeah, it's a really cool job. Really cool job. It's stressful at times, but I mean, what isn't these days? That's basically what I've been doing. When I've not been doing M4J stuff, I've been doing hashtag stuff. They played in the FA Cup, by the way, on Monday. For those of you that didn't see, they played in the FA Cup live on the BBC. Went to penalties. They won a penalty shootout. I feel like I know a lot of people are trying to claim that they're hashtag's lucky charm right now, but it's only when I started working for them they started winning matches again. So, I mean, I'm not saying they should thank me, but it wouldn't hurt. That's all I'm saying. Wouldn't hurt. I am joking, of course. There are very few people in the country now who don't know who hashtag are. Even my 85-year-old grandparents know who hashtag are now, because I've bent their ears off about them. What am I looking for? Let's do something like this. I remember once saying that I would build all my stations on a route to a standardized design. That clearly went well, didn't it? I think also once I said I would space stations out a little bit more. Got 4 right next to each other here. If I was to remove one, I would remove this one here and this one up here, and I would just have Fort Parkway and I don't even know what you would be called, because this is going to be New Granville. We'll cross that bridge in a second when we come to it. Right, what am I doing here? I think just as a placeholder, I'm going to do you, and then I'm going to go 1, 2, then another single-sided platform there, like so. Single-sided, we'll select you, drag and drop, bosh, and then on this side over here we'll have I'm guessing you're east because you're the closest one. We'll just have an island platform here, like so. I've really got to remember that I haven't done any of the signalling yet either, because the worst thing I've done with this network is release a train and forget to do the signalling, and then it's ended up all over the place because it's not had the wayfinding set up. Yeah, it's not a bad idea to do the peaks. I think the best thing to do would be to not do it over a year, but do it over a day, and then kind of average it from that. I don't know how easy that would be to do either, though. Probably not easier, to be fair. It's probably just as difficult. Do I got this, but this is, it just bridges over one track, doesn't it? It'd be cool if I had one that bridged over 2. Oh, hang on, you might bridge over 2. You say you've got tunnel overlaps. What does that look like? Oh! Oh, that's cool. So yeah, it covers up, if you have tunnels either side of the station, it covers them up. That's pretty... I wish other stations had that. I know there's a new GRF I've got that lets you do that, but I've never liked it. So I like that that's actually integrated into the station. That's very cool. And this, in fact, as well. Okay. That's something to bear in mind. But yeah, that's not what I was looking for. I was looking for something to sort of bridge this gap, because I kind of wanted to put a roof on this, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I think just record based off the highest earning in the day, I suppose. And then times that by 365 maybe, and that's your yearly. That's going to be a massive number though. You have to put several asterisks next to that one, I'd say. At least 3. Alright, let's go bench here. I mean, I'm just gonna... Accessibility for all. That's what we're about these days. Lifts as well as stairs. If you want to be fit, use the stairs. If you want to be lazy like me, use the lift. No shame in that. I'm not just lazy, by the way. You know, I have sort of genuine medical reasons for using the lift. Especially when I have my bad back. I don't know if I've mentioned that much on video. I've got a bad back. I've had it for a few years now. I'm an old man. Need to go see a physio. It's the beginning of the end, though, when your back starts to go. And what? I'm only 27. Shouldn't have a bad back at this age. Should be young and fit. Fighting fit. But nope. I'm just ranting incoherently now about a bad back. Alright, that's that station done. We'll come and name you in a bit. Follow this down. Station here. This feels a bit like the Bahecity commuter belt, actually, which I suppose it technically is. We could call this bit the Bahecity commuter belt East, as well as the East Coast. Like, franchise-wise, it's Bahecity commuter belt East. In route-wise, it's East Coast still. Kind of makes sense. I think it makes sense. I'll make it make sense. Right, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Tickets. Sign, because you always got to know where you are. And just some badly maintained shelters. I didn't build the fast line platforms, did I? I was dumb. Do these ones as well. So again, I said it was going to be an island station. So let's go. Plant. No, let's just go shelter. Let's go old school, unconventional. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we're using the 91s down here, they do have to be 6 tile long. That's why these stations down here are 6 tiles long. That is the first set of fast platforms after Kedingstone, yeah. I'm just thinking about how all over the place this time-lapse video is going to be. It's going to be me like suddenly zipping up here and then zipping back down again. All over the bloody place. Alright, 1. Stairs for 2. Actually, I mean, this is a big town, so I want to have fast line platforms here. But no, I'll do it like this. It's fine. 3, and then 4, 5. I think I'm just gonna have plank for number 6, and then this one doesn't need them. Oh, my voice went really funny now. And then over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I will have another. Yeah, let's do it here. Let's go. Slightly staggered this one. I was about to say, am I going to have enough room here for it? But yeah, just you and you. So what's that? That's 5. And then 4. 5. No, it's ruined everything. 5. And let's, yeah, just dispatch Cavier down. That's fine. And again, slightly major station. It serves what? Plondon and Tardston. That's probably going to be the name of the station, actually, because I mean, the number of station names I've got that are so similar to other station names on the network. It's so much like the UK, this, isn't it? Let's do this, actually. Yeah. No, let's have it how I had it, actually. and then 3 ticket machine, 4 stairs, 5, and then a bridge going across there. That works quite well for me. And then over here, anyone else notice I say here really wrong? Surprised that's not been criticised at me in the past. The way I say our, as in our house, our car, I don't say our, I say our. Mainly because it's right. I feel like this town needs 2 stations. This major one here, which is going to be a 4-tracker. Just going to have lifts, because, again, accessible for all. And both sets of platforms are going to be 6 here. I'm not bothered about whether the slow platform should be smaller or not. Just going to do it like this. And plain. And I'm also going to put a slow set of platforms over here. Probably to the same style. They were built at the same time. Quite literally in this sense. As well as historically. I will, one day, I will go back through each route and rebuild some of this, like, for example, the North Valleys line. I'll build that using a specific type of station. And then in Grand Northern, I'll do that as well. Like, if you look in the UK, you've got the Midland Railway. They built their stations in a very distinctive style, and the Great Northern did as well, and the Great Western. And here, every station's the same, and it's not particularly exciting. So I kind of want to change that, and a good way of doing that is to use all the different UGRFs, because there's so many good UGRFs made by some very talented artists. I think it's only right that I actually utilise them and enjoy them too. Right, that's that station done. Should I build one here? This is the other junction station, isn't it? So I'll build this first. This one I think I'm just going to go island platforms, because the Bahecity Overground, or whatever you want to call it, is basically going to loop around either from the north or the south and then stop. Hello Tom, yes please. If it's the one I'm thinking of, then definitely yes please. This is the life I live. My brother messages me live on stream to ask if I want chips from the Chinese. And the answer is yes I do. What was I gonna say? Yeah, it'll come round next to it, so there'll be another set of island platform. Maybe if it's 3 platforms, it'll be an island platform and then a side platform right next to it. I'm gonna do something a bit different, I think, for this one. What's modern? That's quite modern looking. We're gonna go like that and like that, and then we're gonna go like that and like that, and then on the sides where there isn't that shelter, I think we're going to go with this type. Yeah, because it doesn't quite look like it from this side, but from this side it looks like it slopes up and then along and then curves round and down again at the other side. I kind of like that. I think that looks pretty cool. And then I'm going to put you. That'll do. Like so, and then I'm going to put you and you and you. And in fact, is that the right type? I think I might go with this type actually. I mean, that looks very Dutch, thinking about it, but I mean, that's not a bad thing. That's definitely not a bad thing. On this side, let's say these platforms were built at a later date, so it's kind of, it's mirroring it but not directly copying it. And then we'll go like that, and then we'll go like that. Actually, that's something quite important that's needed over here is the elevator shaft for that. Oh, you can't really, yeah, because it's, hang on, let me choose one with a solid roof, just so you can't see whether or not there's actually a lift shaft, or a more solid roof I should say. This one suits quite well actually. Yeah, that works. What do you think? Should I build a station here at Worthingbourne to make up for the 4-track demolition I did here, just to then realise that I didn't need to do that. I think that's good compensation. Let me know what you think while I build the other stations. Wow, is that how much the delay is on the stream? Did you only just see that? Right, 1, 2. Actually, I'm going to put ticket machine here. Or am I? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, and then I'm going to put you there, and you there, and then just some generic shelters again. Was that the other junction? I think that was the only other junction station, wasn't it? Yeah, and then we're basically down here at Pruntford. Alrighty. So I might make this a 4-tracker as well. In which case I can go back to using island platforms. We're on the home straight, guys. Has this not signaled? Why has this not been signaled? Did I? Oh, that's Windows button mark. You derp. Did I forget to sing? Oh, God. I think I got away with one there. I will have to check these other lines, though. Yeah. Yeah, you're fine. What about the fast line here? Oh, I didn't do the fast line here either. Well, that's not too much of an issue, because I didn't start placing the platform down, did I? No. So, if I come back... Where's... Yeah, here. And... that. Okay. So yeah, around this spot is a good candidate for a station. And I might go... something a bit more like this for the centerpiece. Dumb as it might look. I don't know though, I think that looks alright. And then you and you. You, actually let's not do that. Let's just go you and you. Oh, I'm still a derp. I will forever live my life as a derp. Because the island platform's in the middle. Dummy, big dummy, mahoosive dummy. Let's go with this again. And I guess another planter in the middle. And then the side platforms will be a little bit different. For a start, it'll be that and that. It will also be that and that. Then it'll be benches there and there. And then if we scroll down, where are we? Over here. It'll be that and that. And again, you can see the elevator is inside the building there. Come up here. Final station to be placed is Keward. Pronunciation is up in the air right now. To each their own, I suppose. We'll do it like this, and then we'll have sign, bench, and then just blank platform, I suppose. Okay, time to rename stations. So, Pruntford is going to remain Pruntford. I was considering making this, actually this is Pruntford Heights at the moment, but let's remove that. I was going to consider making the platforms here separate, but imagine they are two separate stations, but for the sake of cargo distribution, I've made them the same. Just to make my life easier, basically. So that's that. Over here, you're just going to be Keward, I don't know, whichever. Gronnwell, that's fine. This one here will go with Pruntford, no Heights. Fancy name for this station here. again, while people are coming up with name suggestions for this, bear in mind it's a major junction for the Bahecity commuter belt as well. The Eastern commuter belt. In fact, yeah, that would be the Eastern commuter belt, wouldn't it? Anyway, while you're coming up with ideas for that, I'm going to build this station here. If you want to come up with names for the other junction station as well, like a cool subtitle for it, that would be awesome. You could say this station was built at a later date and that's why it's a little bit fancier. So you're just going to be Wharfingbourne. And then over here, we've got Pruntford. I'm going to call you Pruntford Bridge. And then cross the lake. Over here, you're going to be Carbourne. Actually, are you? Yeah, and then you could be Gretston. So you're just going to be Carbourne Lakeside. It's a nice name. And then you are just going to be Gretston, not Heights. It's one of those anomalies where Carbourne is actually closer to Gretston than Carbourne. There is no station in Carbourne. Gretston Station is probably closer to, I don't know, whatever town this is. Butt Hill. Great. What a nice name for a town. I'm going to keep that, though. Why not? I've changed things like... Do I already have a Butt Hill? There's a question I never thought I'd ask myself. Have I already got... wrong thing, Mark. What am I looking for? BU. BUT. Are there two Butt Hills? What line are you on? Oh, this goes up to... Yeah, this is the North Valley's line and the Western Reach... West Wind's line. Banlieusard Junction. Is that how you pronounce that? Alright, first of all, Butt Hill needs to be renamed. For various reasons. I'm going to rename you Butt Hillier. Why not? Is there an origin to that name, George? Means commuter junction. In French, I'm going to assume. Oh God, I got an A star in my French speaking exam, and I can barely speak English these days. Never mind French. Oh, sorry. So from Butler, we've then got Butthillier. Sorry, we've then got Kingston, and then Tardston, not south, just Tardston. And then over here we've got Plundham. Over here we've got Princeton. Actually, I will keep Valley on that one because it is in a valley. Little Bundwood Shore. Actually, it's nowhere near the bloody shore, is it? Little Bundwood, just call it that. In French. Awesome. Oui, oui. Over here, I might just call you New Granville. New Granville. I can read. Junction. So wait, this is... What was this line down here again? Oh, okay, yeah, you come out of the south of Bahecity, don't you? Yeah, and you technically connect up to the south coast and beyond. So that's actually a bit misleading. What I might do then is this line... I might have another line that spurs off here and runs east and then connects up. Somehow, I don't know. This coat hanger will be a thing though. It will be a thing. So, Hendington Actually, we won't even put Hendington because it's nowhere near Hendington. We're just going to put Banlieue Sar Junction. So wait, Banlieue Sar means commuter junction. So we're basically calling the station Commuter Junction Junction. That's like the Ferrari La Ferrari, isn't it? Oh well, done now. This one up here, I'm going to call New Granville Junction. Yep, that's fine. And then when we diverge here, they're going to be New Granville North. Because creativity seeps through me right now. I forgot to build a station over here, actually. That's something I'm probably going to have to do. You are going to be Fort Parkway. Wait, no. Why are you called Fort Parkway? You should be Safingbourne. There we go. And then you are going to be Fort Parkway, not Industrial Park. And then you... I actually like that name. Prutbridge, Portland. Even though it's nowhere near a port. Maybe we could say it was the old port. I mean, there's a river that runs up here. So, old port before land reclamation took place. I don't know. That's probably reading too much into it. Lenborough Bay, Old Town. We're going to go with that. And then if I build this station, I'm only going to make it a 5-tiler. Just to fit in this gap here. Two, three. Actually, no, a 6-1 will fit here. 4, 5, 6. Banlieue means commuter, so a junction is Banlieue Junction. Gotcha. You're going to be Bathing Bridge. This is going to look interesting on the map, having these stations split like this. Hadn't really thought about that. Chunfingford. Not Portland here, even though this is technically more eligible to be called Portland. And then finally, we've got actually Friendingbury Manor. I like that name. I'm going to keep that name. Where did Manor come from though? Those houses? I thought that was an industry. Yeah, I'm going to keep that. And then here we've got Dudhatton Ridge. And there we go. East Coast, tick. All done. So I'm going to save the game again. Actually, I'm going to end the recording first. That was a 2-hour, 15-minute recording, I think that was. So it's probably going to be quite a long time lapse on Tuesday. Might even... Actually, no, I can't do that, because then next week's stream is going to be delayed a week. I was going to say split it into 2. I suppose I could still. Maybe upload the second bit on Thursday. I'll see. I will see. But yeah, I will go do all the speed limits and stuff, and then I'll start planning some services. It's going to be really weird, because I'm going to have a train that comes out of Bahecity Central. It's going to run north, 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 north. It's going to get to Wannington, and then it's going to go east, 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 east. And then it's going to get to here, and then it's going to go south again, and basically past itself when it gets to about here. But, you know, that does happen. That does happen in real life as well. So again, realism. They are one and the same. Something else I will do between streams as well, if I remember, is to get the repaints done for all these trains. I still need to go through and do all the speed limit stuff. I might even... I don't know. I think this week I might take a break from doing speed limit stuff, and I might just add more trains to existing lines. I'll see about that, and then next week, before the cross-country stream, if that is going to be in 2 weeks' time, I'll sort that out for that. Maybe that'll be what I do instead. But yeah, we're pretty much done with the stream, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed the stream, and of course if you continue to enjoy the series. I think we had some new people here tonight. I know Ashley was new, so welcome, welcome. And Kirby Pink as well. Thank you for joining. Hopefully we'll see you again in the future. And of course to my existing viewers as well, to Just Having Fun, to George, to Tom as well, even though he was mainly just here to moderate and ask if I wanted food. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. As I said, drop some comments down below as well. Bear in mind what I said. I need suggestions for future streams. So I've got the next 2 sussed, but after that I might need some ideas. So if you have any, if there's anything you'd like to see done, feel free to comment them down below. It's much appreciated. And besides all that, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, be sure to smack the subscribe button. It really does help out the channel. If you have already subscribed and you're a continued supporter, thank you very much for that continued support. And until next time, I will see you soon.